Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we're going to get all the details about this year's annual Porch Fest Quincy Music Festival. It's coming up later this month. First though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, partly cloudy out there. It is 68 degrees right now. We'll have some hazy sunshine today. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s this afternoon. For tonight, clouds increase, lows drop off into the mid 60s. The clouds bring rain, at least for part of tomorrow, mostly in the morning and early afternoon with some rain and some showers. It'll be cool as well with highs tomorrow only around 60 degrees. The forecast right now is for clearing skies through Saturday night. Lows will drop off into the mid-50s, and very nice for Dad on Sunday with a mix of sun and clouds. High Sunday into the mid-60s, and of course it'll be nice on Monday with the sun and clouds and a high Monday around 70 degrees. 68 with some hazy sunshine in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today. Tomorrow is the big day for the Quincy 400 celebration this year. The 74th annual Quincy Flag Day Parade is also the signature event as Quincy celebrates its 400th anniversary as a settlement this year. Speaking on this program this past Monday, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch said tomorrow's parade will be unprecedented, including the addition of 6 historic flags that the city purchased just for the parade.
It's I don't know if you remember the Mark Valentine days when they used to have the Mount Rushmore flag, and we used to carry flags.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
So kind of a theme like that. But
okay.
We Paul Doherty, who's specialist on flags,
yep.
The park department, he ordered, and we have 6 historic flags. They'll be noted in the parade. You'll have that sheet in front of you and covering the parade. And what we did was we invited the Elks, the Rotary, the Masonic Temple, the YMCA, the Chamber of Commerce. There's 6 community groups that you need minimum 12 people, up to 16
really?
To carry them.
Okay.
They carried obviously flat, and it's a nice feature this year for the Flag Day for sure.
Parade steps off tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Hancock Street and Walter Hannon Parkway in Quincy Center, travels along Hancock Street, turns right onto Marymount Parkway and then up to Pageant Field for a ceremony, followed by a fireworks display over Blacks Creek. And you can watch the parade, the ceremony, and the fireworks live right here on QATV beginning tomorrow night at 6:30. Other news today, 3 elderly women are safe thanks to the Norfolk County Sheriff's Are You OK program. This past Monday, a 78-year-old Quincy woman was found on the floor of her home suffering from dehydration after police responded when she failed to answer her well-being phone call from the sheriff's office. Norfolk County Sheriff's Officer Cheryl Bambry notified first responders when the woman didn't answer the call, and a relative couldn't contact the woman either. The woman was taken to Milton Hospital for treatment. A similar scene played out last Friday in Westwood and in Norwood when elderly residents failed to answer their well-being checks. The Are You OK program is free to Norfolk County residents. You can sign up at norfolksheriff.com or by calling 1-866-900-7865. The first dragon boat museum in the country is located in Quincy Center. Peter Eng opened the museum recently on Hancock Street, right off the Hancock-Adams Common. Eng is a Hong Kong native, but is also a U.S. Air Force veteran, having served in Vietnam. He became the first Asian American to become an air traffic controller and then worked for the FAA for 41 years. Quincy City Council President Ian Kane says that Kane's father helped Eng get that museum open.
You know, this was a dream of his to open. You know, he loved taking part in these races, and you know, I think it contributed a lot to his life. And so this is just such a unique component to add to the cultural fabric of Quincy. You know, there was a ribbon cutting and sort of a grand opening dedication on this past Saturday, and there was great group of people there. Fuji contributed food, but the museum's such a wonderful space. There was a demonstration of a dragon boat then, and there's art all around. But I certainly encourage people to pop in and check this out, because I mean I know nothing about dragon boat racing. I probably first heard about dragon boat racing through Councillor Liang, who I think had participated in some races and told me about it. But it's a really interesting component because I don't, I think it's much more of a place for people to gather as a community. It's kind of it's community center rather than just sort of an exhibition.
The museum features dragon boats from across the country and tells the story of dragon boat racing in China. Eng's original artwork is also on display at that museum. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office has postponed tomorrow's planned Recovery Fest celebration at their public safety complex in Braintree. Sheriff Pat McDermott says with the forecast for rain tomorrow and part of Sunday, the decision was made this past Wednesday to postpone the event, although a new date has not yet been announced. When it is rescheduled, Recovery Fest will feature local musical artists, entertainers, a zip line, a competitive cornhole tournament, miniature golf, and dozens of local vendors who are all involved in the recovery community. The event builds off the success of the Sheriff's Hope Center in Braintree, which celebrated its first anniversary this past April. The Hope Center is a resource for formerly incarcerated individuals and members of the public who might need assistance, such as employment or substance use support. Quincy firefighters paused this past Sunday to honor and remember firefighters who've died over the past year. The annual Firefighters Memorial Sunday service was held at the Firefighters Monument at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. Mayor Thomas Koch referenced those controversial statues of St. Michael and St. Florian that are planned for the front entrance to the new public safety complex across from the cemetery.
Things have changed, things have evolved. We see everything today that burns. There's so much in chemicals, and so it's pretty well known that firefighters are exposed to far more chances of getting cancer through their service. So we as public officials, I know my city council agrees, I know the state legislature agrees, we're going to do everything we can in our power to make it as safe as possible with the right equipment, the apparatus, and all those things that we can do to help control or mitigate at least those dangers and exposures. So we are mindful of how dangerous the job is. We're grateful for the service that you continue to perform. We have a department that I think leads the state in every way, very professional. I know Chief Jackson and his team do a great job. Chief, I know your dad would be very proud of you as the chief of department here today. And I think he'd be proud of the numbers of men and women now that we have on our apparatus and the continued improvement and investment in our apparatus. Finally, I know in a short time we'll be moving in across the street, the chief's offices and some of the admin of the fire department along with the police department, and it's going to be some beautiful public artwork on that building. So let me end by asking the intercession of St. Florian to protect you, our firefighters, each and every day in all you do. Thank you so much. God bless.
Those statues are the subject of a pending lawsuit brought by the ACLU on behalf of 15 Quincy residents who claim the city misused public funds to purchase the statues of the Catholic saints for public buildings, violating the separation of church and state as mandated in the state constitution. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, preparations well underway for this year's Porch Fest Quincy celebration. We'll get the details next. Welcome back. We are a couple of weeks away from the 8th annual Quincy Porch Fest Music Festival. So Walter Hubley and a newcomer to the program, but not to the city, Savannah Balcom, are here to tell us all about it. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
to see you, Walter, as always. And Savannah, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet
For
you.
the first time, hopefully not the last, though, as well. Walter, why don't we dive right into it? So it's the 8th annual this year?
Yeah, we
Is it annual?
we skipped a year for COVID, so we get a pass on that one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's our eighth annual, and we're excited to pull this together. It's coming together very well. As I've said before, the Porch Fest is really all about building community and also highlighting local musicians.
Period. End of story. It's hard stop, right?
That's the mission.
Yeah, Saturday, June 28th, 2 to 8 p.m.
Yep.
And I mean, it's changed over the past 8 years, but it remains the same as well, right? That
Yeah,
the
it
mission is
changes
the same.
slightly. Like, so this year we decided to start it an hour early and end it an hour earlier,
Yeah.
and that was mainly because it's still light out around 9 o'clock here in this time of the
Certainly,
year.
yeah.
However, when there's like an overcast day, it can be a little darker than we'd like. So
Sure.
just for safety reasons, we made it end a little earlier, start a little earlier, just
Yep.
so it's still light out as
Yep.
it gets a little later. Yeah.
Things that haven't changed, though, are the locations.
Yep, we're
right?
still in Wollaston Hill, but we are moving a little bit more into Forbes Hill, those two side-by-side hills. We've got a couple more over in that direction this
Okay.
year, but largely the same, Wollaston Hill, Forbes Hill area, Marymount, and then Squantum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Things that have changed, though, are the number of bands that participate now as compared to the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, we're well over 100 bands right now, and I'm halfway through the social media posts and halfway through the website updates. And every time I get an available half hour, I just try to bang away at it and try to
Right.
get it all done. And the scheduling team is working hard to make sure that all the bands can meet the schedule that we plug them into, and that everything works out. There's a lot of volunteers to coordinate with to get that all put
I am
together.
sure,
So.
yeah. Any bands been with you for every single festival, do you know?
Oh goodness, yeah. There's a number of bands that have been with
Is
us.
that right?
Tokyo Tramps with us almost every year. Your Buddy's Band, which is another band's been with us through several years. Yeah, a lot of repeat bands and a lot of new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously the folks that do participate enjoy it and get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's become just a fun thing. A lot of the bands have gotten to know the porch hosts, since they often request to go back to the same porch and so forth. So it's been a good experience.
Speaking of
Yes.
porch hosts, Savannah, you are a porch host for Porch Fest Quincy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since 2021 when we
Okay.
moved to Quincy, we decided that when we moved in, it would be a great opportunity for us to
Yeah.
meet some folks in the community. So we've been hosting since. This will be our 5th year.
Okay, and how's the experience been for you?
It's been great. So, like Wally said, we've had some repeat. We had Boom Vang twice, Kevin Teresa, and we've just built community. It's starting to come together in different ways. We just recently at my daughter's daycare, her party at daycare last week, one of the families that goes to her daycare that also lives in our neighborhood said, "Oh, we can't wait to come to Porch Fest." And last year your house was kind of a hub, so that was kind of great to hear that
Yes.
it's catching momentum and people are noticing, and the multi connections between her school and the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So.
and that's really the heart, Walter, right, of what Porch Fest is. It's a local community, neighbors getting together with their neighbors, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the goal of it from the start. I mean, we do want to, of course, we're very thankful for the bands that give of their time and talent,
Sure.
and we want to make sure that they're highlighted and get a great audience. But it's also about having neighbors get to know each other.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've said this before, and I guess I'll repeat it again, which
Yeah.
is, music is one of those things that's very powerful. It can help people who might not otherwise have anything in common find some way to connect and get to know each other through the shared experience of music. So it's a very powerful way to bring people together.
Absolutely, and many ways you may be living next to the person for many years and never have met them until a Porch Fest event, right?
Yeah, we actually hear that a lot.
Is that right?
Until I hosted a band, we never really got to know too many of our neighbors,
Yeah.
or not as many. But on the day of Porch Fest, everyone shows up on your front lawn
Yeah.
and hangs out, and next thing you find you both like jazz, and that's just something more to talk about. Yeah.
I guess we should give a little history of how Porch Fest got started, because it's not just Quincy. It's a national phenomenon now, right?
Yeah, I can give the quick rundown.
Yeah.
So it started in 2007 in Ithaca, New York.
Yeah.
My wife and I actually visited Ithaca, New York to attend the Porch Fest after we started ours. But yeah, so it's been spreading around North America and even in other continents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all over the place. And if you go to porchfest.org, the general site, it actually lists all the different locations that run Porch Fest. And myself, I've helped out in Hull to get theirs started. I helped out in Milton to get theirs started, and a little bit in Dedham as well. So I've been, the Porch Fest organizers tend to collaborate and reach out to each other, because when you're doing it for the first time, there's a lot of moving pieces.
I'm sure, it's a scheduling, logistical matrix that you have going on, right, between bands and porches.
Well, it's
and
like the old
volunteers.
TV guide. Remember that? You're looking at it, like, okay, if I put this band on this street here, I can't have it at the same time as this
We don't
other
want the
band.
plane to get exactly.
And it looks like we do try to be very thoughtful, because not just because we knew what we were doing. But in our first year, we made some mistakes. There was first year we had a punk band right around the corner from the Quincy Symphony Orchestra, and we put them on at the same time, and you couldn't hear the orchestra.
Yes.
So I had to run down the street and move their schedule around a little bit. So.
Although knowing folks in the symphony, I'm sure they got a big kick out of that.
They rolled with it.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like something you couldn't anticipate, but something you learn from, right?
You learn.
Yeah.
You really, and we now ask more questions when people sign up, like,
Right.
okay, how loud is your band? And we give them like a 1 to 5 scale, and that way and it takes a lot of work.
Do you have an
It takes
acoustic
a lot of time.
guitar or an electric guitar,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference.
Sure.
And then you have to make sure that there's depending on the size of the band
Yep.
and how big the porch is, or
Oh,
whatever the
that
venue
too,
is. It's
right.
all kinds of things you need to think about. So it seems like a very simple thing to organize, but it's a lot.
Sure, absolutely. Savannah, I'm curious, how did you first learn about Porch Fest?
So I think one of our neighbors, the neighbors across the street, actually mentioned, "Oh, are you guys, going to attend Porch Fest?" And I think Stephen and I, being new to the neighborhood and having a huge porch, one of the biggest ones
Oh, really?
on the
Oh,
hill,
how convenient.
yeah, we're feeling a little bit of pressure, like, oh, everybody loved the previous owners. Maybe that was a soft nod to
Oh,
that we
no.
should be volunteering.
That's like buying the house that does the big Christmas decorations.
Yeah, so we felt like we had big shoes to fill. So we actually decided to do it for that reason, and then also a calling that I felt. My late father actually loved music, lived for live music, and we felt like it was like kind of a way to bring him into the community
Yeah,
a little bit as
yeah.
well. And even more so now that we have our daughter, it's like kind of we talk about him and how he would love this, and so it's kind of fun.
That's nice.
But yeah, so I got into it kind of because we felt a little bit of pressure that with a porch we should be doing it for the community.
Look at all this great covered space we have.
Yeah, it felt like a shame, like a waste
Yeah.
to, because we were going to participate and attend whether or not we hosted, but to have that porch, it felt like a shame to waste
Yeah.
it.
It is a beautiful porch. It's like the perfect setting.
Yeah.
So,
It's a big porch.
What neighborhood are you in?
Wollaston
In
Hill.
Wollaston, okay. So you're only here in the city for 4 years?
Yeah, so we moved in 2021.
Wow, you're a newcomer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this will be our 5th year, and before that we were in the north end of Boston.
Oh.
I think we were in the north end for 14 years.
Okay.
Right on North Street. It was really nice to be able to walk and get Italian food
Yes.
whenever we wanted.
Yes.
But it's also really nice to have a big old house
Sure.
and have parking and not have to walk to do laundry.
Yeah,
So,
there's that too. What brought you to Quincy?
well, Quincy was proximity-wise really
Yeah.
close for my husband's job. So the
Okay.
Red Line, Wollaston
Yep.
Station's a real plus
Yep.
for that. And we have a family history in
Okay.
Quincy, so that is also kind of nice to know. So, yeah,
Sure. And how's the experience been for you?
we love it.
Yeah.
We do. Our family lives on the Cape, so we zip down to the Cape pretty easily all summer, and it's really close to work. And there's so many parks and just nice community events like Porch Fest,
Yes.
like Flag Day. We really love all of the community that it has to bring. It's
Sure.
like a big city, small community feel.
I hear it all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, for sure. So, Walter, we should get into the logistics, I guess, of what happens on June 28th from 2 to 8 p.m.
Yep, sounds good. So, yeah, we've got as I said, over 100 bands between Marymount, Wollaston Hill, Forbes Hill, and Squantum. Sorry. And for food, we have. I just want to make sure I got my notes here
Yes.
correctly. So, Georgie's Greek Tervina. It will be over on Teresa Road. We'll have the Assembly Restaurant, actually right outside of Savannah's house, and they'll be selling food and beer. And they'll also be selling the Porch Fest beer, which I'll talk about a little bit
Okay.
as well. In Marymount, we're going to have Aroma Pizza and Black Street Barbecue, who will also be selling beer and Porch Fest beer together. Let's see. Yeah, so that's kind of the rundown.
Okay, all right.
The schedule will be put on the website. This is the biggest question we get, and we get it constantly. Because we have so many reschedules, changes, moving pieces
Yeah.
around, we don't usually put the schedule out because it's going to change until about 4 or 5 days before the event.
Oh,
So
right.
usually on the Monday or Tuesday, it'll go on the website, and we'll do an email and social media blast to let everyone know that the schedule's ready. And then it'll change 2 more times, but that's okay.
Okay.
And I want to say, so we have a longtime volunteer that was helping us out from year 1, Stacy LeMay. She did a great job over the year managing Squantum, but unfortunately this year she wasn't able to make the time to chip in. She's been doing it for a long time. We really appreciate it. And so between myself and Kathy, my wife, as well as Bill Lebo, who manages Marymount, we're just kind of all chipping in to help fill in the blanks at Squantum.
Squantum.
So, the website posts aren't going up as fast as they have in previous years, and
okay.
you know, but we'll get it done.
All right.
It's a lot of work. So
Is there still opportunity for bands to participate?
if we have some cancellations,
Yeah.
possibly, but
Okay.
right now we've got the schedule pretty much filled up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And do you need any more porches?
No, right now I think we're good.
Wow,
But
okay.
yeah, maybe if there are people who still want to try to get in, we can try to fit them in if we can match a band with their porch or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Or get on the list for next year, perhaps?
Exactly. We always have some late cancellations. You know, things happen. And
Sure.
anytime you're trying to organize 110 or 20 bands, with each of which have, you know, on an average 3 to 5 members, there's always something that comes up. So yeah.
And I'm guessing in terms of musical genre, the whole gamut again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, everything from the Atlantic Youth Orchestra to the Atlantic Youth Jazz Band on the school side, but then there's, you know, just a whole, whoever shows up is going to be playing bluegrass up on the hill again, and yeah, so a great range of artists.
Excellent. It's a great venue, too, for up-and-coming musicians, right, to showcase their talents.
Yeah, and when you're a musician, and especially when you're in a band, the more you play, the better you get, the
Sure.
tighter things get. And
As you
this is
know,
a
being a
great-
musician yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And so the more times the opportunities they get to perform, and practicing is one thing, but to be up in front of an audience is a whole new level. And I think it's great that bands get the opportunity to just try things out and get tighter as a band.
Yeah. Any original music for Porch Fest, do you know, has been born in the past or coming up this year?
There are a few collaborations
Okay.
that are, you know, they particularly get together for this event
Right,
and don't
right.
play otherwise.
Gotcha.
But I'm not aware of any specific songs or content that they've created in that way.
You never know. It's only 8 years old, so
True. Give us time.
things could happen. Are you hosting a band at your place?
No, my next door neighbor is, though,
Okay.
and they just moved in. They literally just moved in and finished renovating their house, and they walked over and they said, "What's this Porch Fest thing?" And
Yeah.
so we.
Maybe they felt pressure.
I'm
Maybe
not-
they thought the previous owners
I will
did
neither
it.
confirm nor deny that they had any pressure.
Walter patrols the neighborhoods looking for porches and then knocks on doors,
I
right?
look,
Oh,
I look
no,
for
not
new
from
people to
you.
come in.
From their previous owners.
So Porch Fest has its own beer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so thank you for the segue.
Yes.
Yeah. So Break Rock Brewing has always,
Oh,
since they
okay.
opened, has been a great supporter. They'll sell our shirts for us at the location. So if you want to buy your Porch Fest shirt, you can-
2025 Porch Fest shirt right
yeah,
there?
you can go
Okay.
to Break Rock Brewing, and they make a special beer for us each year, and this year is no exception. We're having a beer release party on Friday night from 6 to 9.
This coming Friday night?
Tonight,
Tonight?
yes.
Oh, tonight,
So
okay.
if this is on live, so anyone who hears this now can show up tonight. We'll be selling shirts. Black's Creek Barbecue will be selling barbecue. There'll be some live music.
Oh.
I'm spacing out on who's performing tonight.
That's
but
okay.
but yeah, and there'll be a crowd of us there just to kind of celebrate and pregame, if you will.
Okay, okay. Get you in the mood, as it were.
Yeah, and a portion of the proceeds from the beer sales go to help pay for Porch Fests, and we have a lot of signage, print materials, website,
Yeah.
all kinds of things we need to pay for, porta potties.
Yeah, I was going to
And
ask
so-
about the money aspect of it, because it's
Yeah.
free to attend, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so Break Rock's been really great at lining up with us, not only for the beer release, but also helping out with some money to help pay for things. And then there's the Mass Cultural Commission that we get a grant from
Oh,
each
okay.
year, and yeah, those are our two sources.
Yeah.
We also have a couple of neighbors that routinely donate every year.
Oh, nice.
We just get a check because they, maybe already have too many T-shirts and they just want to help out.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that's kind of how we fund it. And T-shirt sales are a huge part of how we fuel
Is that right?
paying for everything. That's
Okay.
the majority of how we pay for the porta potties and all the things you need to have in
Gotcha.
place.
So now, logistically, in terms of like parking and the bus routes, trash
Yeah.
collection, things like that.
Exactly. So this is all happening in someone's neighborhood.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing anything, by all means, please pack it up and take it with
Yeah.
you, and try not to park in front of neighbors' driveways. All of our areas are on public transportation.
Okay.
So it's great to use public transportation. Another way to do Porch Fest is go on a bike. I have some friends who do it every year. They
Sure.
hop on the bike and they go around the neighborhoods and they go from neighborhood to neighborhood. That's
Yep.
a great way to do it. And also, of course, it'll still be light out, but we put up our signs saying drive carefully in the neighborhoods.
Yes.
But as always, please drive carefully because there's going to be a lot of people on the streets and a lot more than usual. So
Right.
always like to do that for housekeeping. Also, one thing I also wanted to
Yep.
mention is a lot of families in the neighborhoods where we have Porch Fests take out block party permits, and it's a great way if you are concerned about, you have a lot of kids on your street, for example. Just go to our Porch Fest website. It'll link to the city's website with an application, and you can take out a block party permit, pick up some barricades, and put them on the end of your street. And a lot of families do that, a way of blocking off just a few streets so that they can let the kids run around and not have to think about the cars navigating around.
Just making it safer, yeah.
Exactly. And unless you're a guest, Porch Fest is going to be over at 8 o'clock this year, and so unless you're a guest in the neighborhood, it's always good to go somewhere else. And for that reason, we're working with a couple of local restaurants and bars to do sort of an after party idea. So, and it'll all be on social media and on the website, but Break Rock, it will be a location, the Poor Yard, the Assembly, they're all going to have live music from 8 until 10. And so if you're not done with your day of live music,
after party.
yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's a great after, and you can also pick up your shirt at those locations.
Okay, and I know I ask every year, but no rain date.
No rain date.
No rain.
No. As I say before, we're from New England. We're just going to gut it out. A lot of the porches are covered.
Yes.
I'm sure some bands would be concerned about getting their equipment wet, and we totally understand that. So if there will be cancellations if there's rain, but we just forge ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Savannah, welcome to Quincy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Only 4 years, so you're a newcomer. Please come back.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, Walter. Good to see you again.
You say it too.
Speaking of the weather, just enough time to check it out for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get. Sun and clouds, mid-70s, mid-60s this evening. Saturday must mean rain, and there it is, mostly in the morning, hopefully breaking in the afternoon, chillier with a high around 60. Very nice on Father's Day, sun and clouds, mid-60s, even nicer, of course, on Monday. Thanks again to Walter Hubley, Savannah Balcom for joining us from Porch Fest Quincy. Thank you to our crew. Thank you for watching. Monday, we welcome Friends of Wollaston Beach here on the program to get a summer update. Meantime, check our website, qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.